That's
Okay, call to order. And we have a pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Was Norm able to come in on Zoom or?
He has not.
Okay. All right, may we have roll call, please?
Trustee Bethel.
Here.
Trustee Winkleblack.
Here.
Trustee Price. Trustee Stalling. Mayor Wilcox.
Here. Are there any changes or deletions to the agenda? Okay. Persons not on the agenda. Where do we put it? Okay. Okay, first we have Tasha Vig. Oh, that's it for the,
Yes.
for the street, yeah, okay. And Kate Hewart with KLJ, you're on the agenda as well. And then we have Tilda Evans.
We prefer to wait until item 10 when that comes up. That's all right with the board.
Are there any objections to that, Bill? Okay, we have no objections, that'd be fine. All right. Item number 6, Bruce Smith.
I just wanted to tell you for I do any more than 5 minutes, you know, I'm sick or something. Since I'm new dealing with, I'm with all of you. I just wanted to let you know how I feel about things. And I'll start off with this basic thing. This is your board meeting, not the staff. So I don't intend to speak unless spoken to, you know, something I need to give you an answer to, I'll do it. But otherwise, it's your meeting and you conduct business as you see fit. Couple of things that I'd like to do in the future, and that's shorten these agendas up. You know, I look down one of them and it just kind of jumps out at me as the building permit to pour a concrete slab and retaining wall. Well, as long as it's on the property owner's property, I mean, it doesn't extend into the right of way or across neighbors. Yeah, I need it though. And in any case, if it's in compliance with the planning and zoning requirements of town, it should be approved, you know, by the acting administrator or the mayor. So that the people don't have to wait, I mean, stop this out. And I still say that to you. In any case, the town really doesn't issue building permits, as far as I know. We contract with the county. We issue the zoning, planning and zoning clearance, and
Yeah,
that's still the same. Okay, well, I'm kind of glad to hear that.
So Bruce, may I ask you, under what circumstances do you think it should come to the agenda? Something of that nature. Is there any circumstance you think that we should see it, or?
I think that the staff should have approved that. Or submitted unless there was, like, a variance was required or rezoning, something along those lines. The concrete slab doesn't require a building permit. From the drawing, I'd say it's foot tall, 15, 18-inch tall. Retaining wall is own property and it wouldn't require a building permit anymore than this way.
yeah, it's not attached to the home or,
I mean, that's, I just hate to see people get hung up.
Yeah,
Wait,
and this seems to be something new. It popped up for the first time in a year on last month's. And actually was gonna ask for future agenda items that we create a policy that the staff could approve building permits. I would like to see water tap and sewer tap come through the board possibly to make sure that the right price is being charged to everybody.
See, I would normally say that the staff should supply you with a list.
Yeah.
I think, Joe,
Like the consent agenda. You know, when it's after the fact, zoning compliance,
Mhm,
a little late to have you consent to it.
right.
You know, if we prove something wrong, I guess we gotta wear it.
Yeah,
I don't know what else you can say to that. But I looked at, you know, we still don't have the updated municipal code, so here I sit, I don't know whether your ordinances have been changed to require things to come in front of you. You know, like zoning conformity. I don't have any idea. I can tell you what it was 20 years ago.
mhm,
That's the one that looked. And the administrator or the mayor could have approved it. But whether things were changed since then, I don't know. And while I'm on that little kind of a near rant, I'll tell you that I've seen bits and pieces of planning things that were changed, and one in particular is talking about the distance of poles from buildings and rights of way. You know, I said, "Oh, we really need that." I didn't get that, but I wouldn't suggest taking it out at this point. We know what's at home, but fact of the matter is, you've got a franchise ordinance in Grand Valley College. Basically allows them to put health poles where they need them.
mhm.
You know, not regardless of the distance, it's good to have be able to give them some idea that, you know, we don't like to see them within 10 feet of this or whatever. But, I suspect that maybe that the planners have gotten a little carried away with some of their requirements here. As far as I'm concerned, to be simple and understandable as is workable. And having things like distances from poles to buildings and all that is getting pretty far out there, I think. That's just a for instance.
how often do those franchise agreements change, do you know?
How often do the franchise agreements change?
Oh. Let's see, I think the Grand Valley. I think it's for 25 years.
Okay.
And it might be XL, we used to have them sometimes for 40.
I know in 1995, the agreement was that any new poles that went in for new houses or whatever were to be put underground and or new services anyway. but,
But you may remember, I think you were probably on the board,
right,
and I threw a rant about this. See, I think people in Collbran, people in western Colorado anyway, they don't really wanna look at power. And you think about what's happened out in California, with power poles and all that, power lines belong underground. That's what. And I had some pretty good fights with Grand Valley, not fights, you know what I mean, arguments. And I couldn't budge, and in fact, for a while, Colbran didn't have a franchise ordinance at all because it had expired. And I couldn't convince Grand Valley's representative that the polls needed to go. So I made a verbal agreement with him that said, okay, you can't increase the number of poles that are there, you know, kind of like a non-conforming use kind of a thing. So if you want to put a new power pole in, one's got to come out. It really gets worse than that. When we paved the streets, sidewalks, curbs and gutters, the design had we put piping underground, you know, under the streets where we paved them. But the intent that Grand Valley would use them through time go underground. Yeah, this guy's name told me, well, you might as well take them out. Because Grand Valley has never ever been going underground.
well, I know,
What's happening in California, how do you think they feel about it?
yeah.
Never had power, huh?
I remember the folks on Clancy, when those homes were built, they were, you know, Grand Valley were forced to put underground and next to us and just working for the phone company, it becomes a nightmare working on a bucket truck when you got power and fiber and, you know, you never know what you're gonna snap. And then the trees became a hazard, so it was kind of nice having, I thought the franchise agreement was still underground for anything that was new. Anything that was existing was grandfathered, but like you say, if one came out, you know, for maintenance
Well,
purposes,
I can tell you this. They weren't real good at armoring that agreement. They got into some situations, I think, down here in Plateau City. A number of poles. Well, what are you gonna say, huh?
once they're up.
Can't extend power to that location because we got a pole limitation. Seemed like a good idea at the time, but as a practical matter.
Yeah.
It's some deficiency. So I'm almost out of time, so I'll just tell you the other important thing to me is that the board should feel free individually to come into the town hall at any time and say whatever's on your mind or ask whatever questions are on your mind. From talking to some of you, it seems like maybe you've been kind of reluctant to do that. It's all yours. We have, Dusty and the staff, we haven't, none of it is up, it's yours. The budget is yours, the money is yours. So,
Bruce, I have a question for you. Since you came on board, where are we on advertising for a full-time town administrator? Have we put that out there yet?
I haven't done anything constructive along those lines. That's how it is. I seem to be buried in other things.
But I feel personally, that's a priority, that should be a priority. I mean, I don't know exactly what else you're dealing with, but we needed to get out there and get ourselves a full-time town administrator and move on.
I absolutely agree with you.
Well, just like before we hired the Mesa County, we had to have auditors come in and see where we were at. And that's kind of what I understand Bruce is seeing where we're at, seeing what we need and evaluating. Is that correct? And I respect his professional opinion that when the time is here, we'll hire.
You said that you're basically just evaluating everything budgets, everything like that at
Well,
this
yeah.
point, and that's why that money didn't be done yet.
Well, what happens is if, so. Talk to the public works guys about a water problem. And then somebody comes in, wants to talk about, see, just. I mean, what am I gonna do? You know? Guy coming tomorrow at 12:30 to talk about a water service line. That kind of thing, so not really in control of time.
Just wanna make sure we're not procrastinating on that we get it taken care of.
As long as the job's getting done, that's all that matters.
And I don't wanna stand in the way if there's,
Take that serious. If the administrator and help.
I mean, we have job descriptions and everything already, right? We have several, professional organizations that you're fully aware of, and we could begin advertising through them as well. Right? CIRSA, and some of the other organizations. I'm just saying, the sooner the better. Thank you.
okay. Item number 7, resolution number 12, series 2025. A resolution of the Board of Trustees of the town of Collbran, Colorado, appointing a new law firm of Nazarenus, Stack and Wambacher as the town's attorney. And this item number 8 pretty much goes with it. Pretty well, same time.
Was that okay, Dusty? Approve both resolutions at the same time?
You're gonna have to have separate motions and votes on.
All right,
I move we approve resolution number 12, series 2025, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the town of Collbran, Colorado, appointing the law firm of Nazarenus, Stack and Wambacher as the town's water attorney.
I'll second that. Any further discussion?
I do have a question. Did you build these resolutions, Bruce? Did Bruce build these resolutions?
No, they were prepared by Wilson.
Oh, okay, okay. They look good.
Thank you, Trustee Price.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, may we have a vote, please?
Trustee Winkleblack,
Yes,
trustee Bethel.
Yeah.
Trustee Price,
Yes,
Mayor Wilcox,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item number 8, resolution number 13, series 2025, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the town of Collbran, Colorado, approving a representation agreement with Nazarenus, Stack and Wambacher for the Watertown Attorney Legal Services.
I move that we approve resolution number 13, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the town of Collbran, Colorado, approving representation agreement with Nazarenus, Stack and Wambacher for the Watertown Attorney Legal Services.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion with that? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Trustee Bethel.
Yes.
Trustee Winkleblack,
Yes,
trustee Price,
yes,
Mayor Wilcox,
Yeah.
motion passes.
Okay. Item number 9, consideration of street closure request for Oktoberfest, presented by Tasha Big.
So we have it set up for September 12th. We normally close Main Street from this end, right before the store, from, I think I put 4 to 8. That would be okay, at 40, at 49, okay. The band must wait till 8, so it takes me, it won't be closed till 9, but it takes us about 30, 45 minutes to tear down.
So are you guys, do you guys clean up your own, or do you guys count on town hall, public works?
Okay, so this is the way it's worked in the past, because it was always a Collbran supply, town of Collbran, leaving it together. So I did have the city boys were there and they helped me like pick up the trash. FFA, Ruth always has FFA members come in and help, and F has a community members that always help, so it's always been like a big joint effort.
Okay.
But they would help me like pick up all the trash, it was the town boys that,
Are you, because we're trying to move into our
Not
public
doing-
works guys?
yeah,
Having
not doing
time
that,
off?
which is fine.
Yeah,
Which is,
okay,
is really good, and I can get the trash and stuff picked up,
Okay.
I prepared for that already, I sort of knew.
okay, all right.
So I just need to, and they said they could still, while they were on a topic, just help me get some of the stuff out there.
Right.
And then, like I said, I get the FFA and lots of community help.
Right. And I don't know if Job Corps is available for. volunteers.
Yeah, I don't know, we've just never had it because it's sort of been enough, like,
Yeah,
we've
no.
sent a lot of FFA kids down.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I have everybody at the store that comes in. So, yeah, I know I won't have done that night to help pick up,
Okay.
but even if I can just get it close, I have enough help. And then I already talked to them about maybe using their hand washing stations that you guys have here already, which they said is fine.
Okay.
So, stuff like that, but,
Okay.
yeah.
And are you gonna come back and apply for the special event permit application later?
Well, we were talking about that because it sounds like I can get it just approved through administrator, right? Dusty?
So I did some research on that, we were missing a couple documents, and so I pulled the special event permit from the packet this time. But in looking at that, in the municipal code, it states that the town clerk can administratively approve
Yeah.
special event permits, so with
Right.
your authorization, we will send that back to the town clerks. And if there are extenuating circumstances or something weird, if we end up getting a protest where somebody says, no, we don't like this, we don't want it, we don't want her to do it. Then at that point, the local licensing authority has to hold a hearing. And that is you guys.
Okay,
But.
So how does
we're-
the public know if there's a protest? How do they know that they're,
There would be a notice posted on her building.
okay, all right.
That's,
I just want to make sure everything's done right moving forward.
yeah,
Me too.
And I do see that it says the town clerk shall be authorized to issue special event permits administratively, so. Okay,
yeah, write a resolution where basically you are the presiding officer.
As right now, I'm your interim town clerk, so I hold that title,
right,
so I could.
Right. but also nothing's being sold, it's being given for.
yeah, we don't sell anything, it's all free. It's all
Yeah.
given away.
I don't know if I can get them changed there, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's something else I'm looking into,
Mhm.
how that works
Mhm.
with the LED.
Yeah, because I know,
Cause then maybe we don't have to do
yeah,
because it's all being given. away.
Okay,
because I know just salon and some salons serve wine and beer and they have to have no license.
And they have
because
to
They're
do
giving it for
festival
free.
okay. Yeah, because I know like Mesa does like stuff too with nobody does a permit to back. So I didn't know how that was gonna
Yeah.
go, because I was always told before that. The town, what we'd always done in the past, I was told was that the town had pulled the liquor license for that.
Yeah.
But we're not selling it, we're just
Right.
giving it away, so.
Yeah, and what about insurance? Or,
I really don't know, because seriously, it was always like, I just came in and okay, we're doing it, because that's how it was.
okay,
She could apply for that
Right.
same program that
Brandy
Morrissey and Dalrymple
Mhm.
applied for, and
Okay.
it's run through our. It's run through our insurance company through Surfa.
Okay.
At very reasonable rates.
Okay,
So we'll talk next.
okay, that's perfect, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
okay, I move we consider the street closure for Oktoberfest for September 12, 2025, from 4 PM to 9 PM.
And I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Trustee Price,
Yes,
trustee Bethel.
Yes.
Trustee Winkleblack,
Yeah.
Mayor Wilcox,
Yes,
motion passes. Thank you.
thanks, Tosh.
thanks. Item number 10, resolution number 14, series of 2025, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the town of Collbran declaring the position of the town attorney vacant.
If I could just cut in here real quick to explain, as you all know, at last month's meeting, our firm gave the 30-day notice to withdraw. So this is just making that effective at the end of that 30-day notice period, which runs through Thursday. During the attorney update section later, I'll kind of give a brief summary of the last couple projects I was doing to kind of help close things out and ensure a smooth transition after our firm withdraws. The effective date of this resolution is on Thursday. So if there's any, minimal stuff that I need to do following this meeting to help kind of keep moving things along and help ensure a smooth transition, then I can do that between now and Thursday, assuming this resolution is approved with that effective date.
Right. Any further discussion?
Well, I guess, it's a very important that, in my opinion, that it's come to this. When I looked at Wilson's resignation letter, he cited that they were unable to establish a full and functional relationship. I think that's our responsibility to do that with the lawyer. Some of his other comments, because of the inconsistent, unclear direction from the Board of Trustees. So I guess moving forward, we're gonna have to hire another attorney, and we should take that to heart, as was cited by Wilson. And he also indicated, and this one really bothers me, that it's come to our attention that individual trustees have sought and relied upon the advice of their own independent outside legal counsel. To me, that is totally irresponsible. It puts us, we circumvented our own lawyer. And he circumvented me. I certainly did that. He said, trustees, I'm not one of those trustees that sought other professional services. And I think that opened us up to possible liabilities. So I think, the reason I want to bring this to everybody's attention, because obviously we're going to lose the employee of Wilson, and I'm very sorry to see that. I think he's done a great job for us. But I think it's especially because Bill and Norm were not on the board at the time. Those are the kind of things that if you need a letter of his resignation, I'll show that to you. Because the kind of things that he cited are things that we need to make sure that we don't repeat those kind of errors in getting a new town attorney, which may be a real challenge, all things considered, what's going on in this town. So I just wanted to make those comments here in public. Everybody in here, everybody who's on Zoom, to the board, going forward, some of the challenges that we have to employ a lawyer, considering our background with our current lawyer.
Well, me personally, the only things that I did, I've called Wilson on occasion, but I called Wilson, and I also called Sursa because they're our insurance carrier, and then Dola because we had training from both of those folks. But and technically, I guess they are attorneys, but I didn't feel like I was circumventing Wilson in any way because I had called him and asked his opinion on the same thing. So,
well, Ken, I think that was one of the primary reasons that Wilson decided, and his his lawyers firm decided, is because that was kind of like the last straw in this situation with Jim. So, at any rate, I'm pretty upset about the whole thing, and I think if anybody wants to see the reason that that they came to this, certainly can make that public. But it's very unfortunate, and I think that the services that were provided by Wilson and his law firm were excellent.
and I would agree. He asked every question that I had of him, or answered every question I had of him. When I called Sursa, it was just to confirm because of our training and being more new trustees. And the same thing with the DOLA grant. I didn't call them because of their legal advice. I called them because of their training that they came up and gave us. So.
And and I don't know exactly what he decided, but again, you know, when we do something like that, and we circumvent our own lawyer, then not only is it unprofessional, but it certainly could put us, you as an individual, us as the town board of trustees in a liable situation, lawsuit. So hopefully, we won't repeat those kind of errors that we made with this organization.
So,
That's all I have. Most unfortunate. Wilson, I want to thank you for your services.
Thank you. I did enjoy working with the town and with town staff for the short period of time I did. So thank you.
thank you, Wilson.
I move to approve resolution number 14, series of 2025, a resolution of the Board of Trustees of the town of Collbran, Colorado, declaring the position of town attorney vacant.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Trustee Price,
Yes,
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Bethel.
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox,
Yes.
motion passed.
Item number 11, and I don't know if this is needed, but approval of building permit and certificate of zoning compliance application at 3033 Pinion Street, presented by Kate Herbert.
Hi, I'm Kat Herbert. I'm with KLJ. I am representing the town of Collbran as your town planner. Before we get started, I did want to kind of add some clarification of why you're probably seeing some of these planning items. Your code does require all applications for building setback and zoning clearance and building permits to be reviewed by the town board. I'm newer in terms of being on the Collbran team for on-call planning, and I asked the same thing when I was at the last meeting. I asked my colleagues why are we bringing building permits before the board, and that it's specified in your code. However, I would defer to any town attorney if you could make any sort of resolution or policy change that these things can be administratively approved. Most communities do administratively approve building permits like this. But I did want to read to you exactly what it says in your code, just so you know, and maybe begin to think about how to change things moving forward if you like. So it is cited in section 18.04.140C. All applications for building setback and zoning clearance and building permits shall be reviewed by the town board of trustees to determine whether or not the proposed construction will require the installation or construction of public improvements such as street, paving, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, drainage facilities, or other public improvements. So that's just a little bit of background and why.
is that not public improvements on public land? I mean, that, I saw that too, but that seemed like it was more like sidewalks, gutters.
And I think it's application dependent. Certain applications for land use may require public improvements. But what my understanding is that we have interpreted the code to mean all building permits. So unless instructed otherwise, we have been putting these things on the agenda. But again, I would defer to your legal counsel to make any sort of policy change on that moving forward. But yes, my background on that is that, yeah, these are mostly administrative. Yeah. So you're right, I probably don't need to be up here.
Right.
Presenting this, but I'll finish anyway.
You're here.
So this is an application for approval of a building permit and certificate of zoning compliance at 3033 Pinion Street for the leveling of a 20 by 24 foot parking area and the retaining wall. We didn't see any issues with zoning or setbacks, and we recommend.
Okay,
I move approval of building permit certificate of zoning compliance application at 3033 Pinion Street presented by, with that. Thanks.
Yeah,
Herbert.
I don't think it's necessary to say her name for the motion. We're just moving to approve the building permit at this address. To approve attachment A, attachment B, and attachment C.
second,
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Trustee Price,
Yes.
trustee Bethel.
Yeah.
Trustee Winkleblack.
yes,
Mayor Wilcox.
Yeah,
Motion passed.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. Sorry for mispronouncing your name.
Oh.
Item number 12, presentation by Laramie Energy, general update of current projects and activities.
Good deal. Like Katie's getting that out, I did want to tell the board, thank you again for the time. And it's probably one of the things with activity in the area, and one of the things with all the new ECMC rule that we find this town council meeting to be very productive and a good forum for us to give updates. So you'll probably see us, if that's okay, with some frequency on the agenda. We would hope at least 2 or 3 times a year. So I'm the VP of Field Operations and live up here part-time, been around for a while, so I will be available for questions or clarification, but Katie she is our senior planner, and she is the expert in all things permitting and planning and whatnot, so I'm just gonna let her take it away, and I'm gonna sit back down, and if you have any questions for me, I will gladly answer them. So.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity to present to you tonight. Katie Middleton with Laramie Energy. If you want to move on to the next slide. So this will just be a really brief update on just kind of the CCR project, which we presented to you last year. So we're excited to provide an update. And for those who are not familiar with Laramie Energy, we are a exploration development company producing natural gas. Our 2 main operating areas are in Heskey Creek, north of Quebec, and here in Mesa County in the Platte Valley. So thank you for letting us present. And yet we solely operate in the state of Colorado. We've been in the Plateau Valley area for quite a while. We've actually been operating under different names, but pretty much been here since 2004. We have approximately over 150 pads throughout Mesa County and around 943 producing wells. We've also provided a decent amount of money paid towards Mesa County and additional funds paid to the annual mill levy for District 50's new school facility. We're also an active member in the community. As some of you may know, we host and help out with the annual Collbran cleanup, and we're also a supporter of rodeo, Platte Valley schools, and a member of community counts. And so now we'll just touch on the 2024 CCR 0994-2302 OGDP, which we presented to you last year. So we were in front of the board on May 7th, 2024, and again on September 3rd, 2024, and just to kind of review some updates or review the project. It is in the Brush Creek area, so we're basically, this well pad would be northeast of the intersection of Highway 30 and Brush Creek Road, which is 64 and 3/10 road. And it's approximately 6 miles east of the town of Collbran. This project included the drilling of 2 horizontal wells. And included in that development was also a new access road, which would have been off of Brush Creek Road. Mesa County issued the driveway permit on August 20th, 2024. And one correction on this slide is on the bottom, it says submitted October 1st, 2025, it was October 2024. So it's corrected in the hard copies, but not in the presentation. So we had 3 permits
to get, for this project, one being Mesa County, the second being the BLM Federal APD, and the third being the state agency, which is the Colorado Energy Carbon and Management Commission. So we obtained our Mesa County permit on September 27th, 2024. Our BLM permit is in the final days of review. We were anticipating approval by June 2nd of this year, so we should receive it in about a week or so. And then our ECMC OCBP hearing was approved on May 21st, 2025, and it was approved at hearing by the ECMC Commission. So since the project has been approved, we have commenced construction. We anticipate construction will take 50 operational days, so 50 work days. Construction commenced May 27th of 2025, and this will include the construction of the access road, the well pad, and installation of a small buried pipeline segment to connect to our existing infrastructure. Production installation, we anticipate 30 days. Right now, we're estimating third quarter of 2025, which could change. And right now, for drilling operations, we're anticipated to start and commence drilling the fourth quarter of 2025. And drilling, we anticipate to last for approximately 46 working days, with 7 days for mobilization in and 7 days for mobilization of equipment out. And completions operations, we are looking at the first quarter of 2026, and that will approximately last 48 days for completions, with 10 mobile for equipment to mobilize taking 10 days and demobilization taking another 10 days for the project. So just for some operational updates throughout Plateau Valley, right in front of you is a map, and it just shows the on the left in purple is a CCR well pad, which we just discussed, which was just approved. We also have the Hayward, which is located in white, located at the bottom right hand of the screen. The BC 14L, which is in green, and the Laramie 2901, which is in yellow. So the Hayward, which we had touched on last September when we presented to you, the Hayward 193.509 well pad is located in Harrison Creek. We have finished drilling, and we have also finished our completions operations. For the BCU 14L, drilling has been completed at this pad, and we're anticipating that completions operation has wrapped up at the end of May of 25, which it did, and will be preceded by drill outs in June of 25, which some minor activity in the area, but less than what we had previously seen at that pad. So the bulk of operations have been completed. Additional operational updates. So currently Laramie, right now our drill rig is in the Cascade Peak area, which is northeast of Quebec. So we're drilling on a well pad in that area. And we anticipate mobilizing the drill rig back into Plateau Valley in July of 2025. And we will move to the Laramie 093-2901 well pad. It's located in Groundhog Gulch, so approximately 8.5 miles east of the town of Collbran. And it's about 1 mile south of Highway 330. We're looking at drilling 16 natural gas wells. And this one well pad is mostly located on Laramie surface. So it is constructed, and drilling will probably last around 72 days, with mobilizing in mid-July. And drilling operations would start in late July now, and completions then would follow, lasting for approximately 40 days. And thank you so much for allowing us to thank you. And if you have any questions, Chris and I are happy to answer them.
Yeah, I did want to, I know you've got a few new members here today of the ODDP, which we reference often. That's an oil and gas development plan, which is the main surface disturbing surface pad permitting tool for ECMC, which used to be the COGC. So sometime we'll come and just do a session on acronyms and abbreviations. Keep that for everybody. That is our main permitting exercise with the state. So it does require a fair amount of public involvement and engagement, landowner engagement and involvement. And the one thing I was going to bring up that's just a little different as we talk about our plan. These two wells on the CCR are actually going to be horizontal wells, so they're a little different than what we've been drilling most you know, of the 950 wells, there's only one horizontal well actually in the area, and that's up at Kirkendall Flats, and that was built, I don't even know, maybe 10 years ago now, 12 years ago. So, you know, the process is substantially similar, but yet it's significantly different. And when we start looking at the impacts, and they will be slightly different, I think we'll see a different, particularly completions are gonna be a lot longer than normal. With a little bit more activity drilling, which should be more or less as drilling always is, so. Anyhow, it's exciting for us and hopefully exciting for the community, but it is something a little bit different when we get into those. And one of the project that is
But I think you mentioned before, because of the locations and having to move material, that it would take a little bit longer to bring them back once everything's put in place.
Yeah, you must be reclaiming stuff.
Yeah, for the reclamation.
Yeah, and I think the thing that you'll notice with the horizontal well that we haven't do for a long time is, we have to backfill the sand. So you'll see some increased traffic with sand trucks, where we haven't done that forever. We haven't been, you know, so on these William Fork wells, which are the ones we normally drill for years and years, so. That'll be a little bit more intensive, but I do now remember what it is. And if the town can please, I don't know where the trucking company is at with regards to the bridge repair and the, which I assume is an insurance issue between the trucking company and the town, but if you could please keep me posted on that, and if we need to put some pressure on our end to, help motivate them, yeah, please do not hesitate to let us know, so.
That was gonna be my question to you, because some people have spoken to me about it, and I said, I don't know where we are on that, but I'm sure we can find out.
Well, and again, I don't know where we're at either, other than I do know, you know, we know the trucking company. Again, it should be an insurance deal through their thing. I assume that they've already reached out and done assessments and trying to figure out what it's gonna cost to fix it and all that stuff.
I know we pushed for the bridge, the state inspector to come, and they were scheduled last Tuesday or something.
Yeah, I think they have to get out, because I
Yeah.
think, listen to me, if ever dad was up. With them taking a look at that, so, but yeah. I guess just keep it posted, we are committed to help making sure that, that doesn't fall through the cracks, or they don't drag their feet, and, you know, whatever leverage we can use, we'll do our best to make sure that happens.
Thank you. Any other questions for Larrabee or?
A lot of traffic.
Well, there's one traffic, yes.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys being patient and understanding, so, hopefully it's also bringing some, you know, much needed, I don't know, activity, business activity. A lot of guys stopping and buying lunches and dinners and fuel and snacks at the stores, and again, it'll help provide more and more tax revenue as we try to increase production, pay for the schools. So.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. I've got another engagement, so. Thank you all for your time.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Item number 13. Website redemption proposal for ADA compliance presented by Trish Coberly with Coberly Web Creations.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. All right, so I believe you should have the proposal. Just kind of wanted to go over a few things. I appreciate your time tonight. I'm sure you're aware of Colorado House Bill 211110. It requires all government agencies to ensure that their websites are fully accessible to individuals with disabilities. And if not, it can include some serious consequences such as injunctive relief and monetary damages. So this proposal is to bring your website into compliance with WCAG 2.1 AA, which is the standard right now. I typically go up to the WCAG 2.2 AAA, which is as far as you can go at the moment. So in case they change those rules, you'd still be compliant. Those are just the technical specifications provided as guidelines in updating websites. So it includes different usable features on websites for auditory, cognitive, and neurological disabilities, as well as physical, speech, and visual. So one of the core principles too of the website is ensuring a user-centered experience. So as part of the updates, we could also give the website a facelift should you want that. It's all included in the proposal. Any questions?
Well, when the state implemented this, it's my understanding that the state provided a grant for the training for this ADA compliance. Is that true?
They provide training on the web platform itself to make changes, and they do that monthly and it's free. They do post those to the website. I can send you that link. They're always available. They don't provide accessibility training. OIT, the TAP team and OIT does provide training for state entities. I'm not sure that they provide it for other towns, but I could ask if they do.
Well, I mean, I'm not quite sure. I mean, I know that I asked around, and I do know that the previous town administrator and town clerk did have some maybe training on this compliance. So I'm just wondering, you know, and I'm not really clear in terms of what specifically would your organization provide for us to be in compliance? Because we're just talking about website. Is that not true?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So there's different things with compliance, like different color contrast for the color blind. So if you had maybe a red background with white text, that's not the proper color contrast. So it would go through, make those changes. Some towns will post a flyer of an upcoming, maybe like a 4th of July parade or something. And when you post the flyer, a screen reader, those that can't see use screen readers, and a screen reader doesn't have any ability to read that graphic. So you can either put text behind the graphic that gives the information or type out the information on your website so that everyone can attend the parade if they wanted to, for example, or you know, your board agendas or PDF files on there, anything that's scanned, a screen reader can't read. If it's run to PDF, that's totally fine. You got to ensure that there's tags in there. So it'll read things like a heading or a bulleted list of items. And so you just have to make sure that it's all set properly. Usually the financial documents are a nightmare for screen readers, so it's fixing those sorts of things. But this does include training. So if you do have staff in place to update your website, I can train them and we can record that so you always have that and understand what they need to do. It's some of it's basic stuff, some of it's a little bit more difficult, but it's definitely something that staff can do.
Well, and I researched you, and you've done a lot of other municipalities. And so I appreciate the experience you bring. I also saw that this was a deadline for last summer and they extended it. So we're writing a deadline right now, correct?
Correct.
For
So
July?
technically the law states that you're in compliance if you're making progress. So you could make progress on it prior to the July 1 deadline. And then also have an accessibility statement on the website. The state does provide a template for that, and it's basically just contact information. So people know if they're having difficulties, say with a financial document, who to contact and get help. And sometimes that help is just a quick question because they might have a traumatic brain injury. Sometimes it's reading something to them or assisting in filling out a form if they're trying to do that sort of thing. So it doesn't preclude you from being sued for that. But my experience with the disabled community is that they just want equal access and just want to get what they need to get.
I mean, do we have to, Dusty, I was trying to look on the municipal code. So we're not real consistent with waiving, everything's supposed to go out to BidNet. And sometimes we have to vote to waive going out to bid net, and sometimes we don't, so.
And as far as that requirement with this specific one, I am not sure this was actually continued from the May 6th meeting. So I
was trying to look online, because I think it was anything over 10,000 possibly. But I'm not sure for the bid net. For things to go out to bid.
I'm not sure.
Because I moving forward, I want to do it right.
Yep.
The Board of Trustees must approve all awards for contract. So I'm just wondering if we need to.
I mean, we can put it out to bid net, but like she said, we're
Right.
running.
Yeah, which I did read that.
I looked and I didn't see anywhere in the records where other proposals had come in from anybody.
Right.
If it helps to understand too, your risk of being sued. Florida went through something like this, and there was someone in Illinois that just went out, right, and just went down the line suing different Florida entities. So Colorado saw that. And so part of their requirement is that you have to be from the disabled community to sue, and you have to prove harm.
That's good.
So your fee schedule is indicated about $2,500, is that correct?
Yes.
And now, is that a one-time thing? You come in and work on our website, is that a one-time deal, or is this ongoing? Is this like an annual thing? How would that go?
Oh, no, it's a one-time thing. And it includes training so you can move forward and keep it compliant. Some people choose either to have me continue to update their website or just address the accessibility, or they just use me for questions, or, you know, we just do the one-time thing and that's it.
Jessica, did you know when you said we're running out of time, do you know what the deadline was?
July,
Yeah, the first July 1.
I know, yeah. I'm just
So-
trying to decide if we need to. Sorry, go ahead, Trish.
I'm sorry. So the law went into effect July 1 of 2024, but they provided an extension preventing any entity from being able to be sued until July 1st of this year. So, and then the state's guidance on that is, again, that in order to sue, you have to prove your disability and that you were harmed in that. And let's see, what else? And you're considered in compliance if you have your accessibility statement, which I could send you that, so you have it. You guys can put it up yourselves if you want. And then show that you're making progress.
Can't think take too long, so.
Well, as long as they're making progress, though, we're still in compliance.
You're in compliance. It doesn't prevent you from being able to be sued, but it's basically saying we're doing something about it. We're still working on it. We're not ignoring it.
Well, I feel, you know, if we have a deadline of July 1 and we're not compliance, then we should consider this, but if it's ongoing, then we need to make certain that as the state makes changes, that we get the training to our staff and not incur these expenses going forward. That some of the staff, like I said, the previous staff had some of this training. Whether we're ADA, if we're in compliance, I'm not quite certain, but if we're not, then we take care of it. How do you know we're not?
Because we've been on the board for a year. Was this brought forward in the last year?
No.
No. There was no mention of it. This was passed in a House bill, in July last year. Well, I don't know what month. And we had 1 year to fall into compliance, and Angie's the one who brought it to our attention.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so, and this is a list. You can see the list of a compliant. And we don't have these things, so I do have a blind friend, and they have a special reader. And so when you have to click on a PDF or whatnot, they can't read them. Okay, so we don't have what it takes right now, we're not in compliance at all. So it's time to move forward with this, so. I motion we contract, Trish Coberly, the Coberly Web Creations for a website remediation proposal for ADA compliance.
Okay, we do have a motion in a second. Any further discussion?
I would reiterate, yes, I think we need to get in compliance now, but if the state again continues to put forth some of the requirements, then we make certain that our staff gets the training, and a lot of times the state, when they do make these requirements, they do provide some grants and get the training. So in the future, I would say if we have additional requirements that we get our staff trained, obviously we don't have the staff, we can't call upon you any more than what you're already doing. That's it. So that's what I would say in response to that, is that we make sure that we do get the training, because I do believe that the training was going on, not completed, obviously, we're not in compliance. So, but in the future, to avoid this same kind of situation and incur this expense, that we make certain that our full-time staff get the training and we are in compliance.
Yeah, whether it's in this building or in the maintenance.
Yeah. Because this really was budgeted.
Our entire staff needs to be up to date.
Yeah, she said that there's continuing classes online through the state, and she will train the staff, so I think we're good there.
And the training can happen much later too. You know, if you're not ready or you don't have the staff in place for a while, that's fine too.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you all.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. No further discussion. May we have a vote, please?
Trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
trustee Bethel.
Yes.
Trustee Price,
Yes,
Mayor Wilcox,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item number 14, Plateau Valley High School scoreboard.
A little bit. I'm filling in for my colleague, Ben Manavog, who prepared the staff report. My understanding is this is for an electronics football scoreboard at the Plateau Valley High School. In order for them to move forward with the required state permits, I think the understanding is they need to come before you and get acknowledgement and approval of the scoreboard. I believe in your packet, you can see that there is not a requirement for fire code review. The construction drawings have been reviewed and signed by a licensed engineer. So at this point, you just need to acknowledge and decide if you want to approve that scoreboard before they can move forward.
I move that we approve the Plateau Valley High School scoreboard.
Exciting.
Just a second.
Yes.
We have the word scoreboard and construction.
Construction,
We need exhibits A through E.
do you want me to name each exhibit?
No.
I move that we approve the Plateau Valley High School scoreboard construction, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, and Exhibit D, Exhibit E as presented.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, may we have a vote, please?
Trustee Bethel.
Yeah.
Trustee Price,
Yes,
trustee Winkleblack,
Yes.
Mayor Wilcox,
Yes.
motion passed.
Thank you. Item number 15. Presentation by Mark McGowan, Optimus Communications with Internet and Voice Services Proposal.
I believe you all have the proposal in your packet. Right. So, did I give you a copy? Okay, so, well, let me catch you up before we start on this. I just spoke with Corey. Probably about the same time you guys were starting, he's calling me on the phone, with Region 10. They may have this thing done in another month. As far as my business, Optimus Communications and Region 10, we still do not have an agreement.
So they'll have light on the fiber coming this direction
Yeah,
in about, you say a month?
definitely 7.
Okay,
Oh, you didn't get one. We have an update.
This is an update we received from Carla.
okay,
Right before the
yeah,
meeting, which does go over kind of what he's talking about.
all right.
Is it still unaffordable for you?
They haven't discussed it. I also have another, so I bought, Mountain Broadband down in Delta Montrose, Uray County. We do have another service with them, which goes a reasonable price, but we're really told that now it's out of contract and so we're gonna have to arm wrestle over that too. Particularly since we're losing a lot of business to Elevate, the DMA down there, so trying to keep it.
So
viable.
we're in a contract with them in another,
Yeah, by this purchase, but it's, when I understand the contract is up, so
okay.
I need to look at that further too. Yeah, it was one of the reasonable ones, but the price flat. This one's, we haven't got there yet. So then, in another one of my workings in this area, I'm actually going back up on the Grand Mesa next Tuesday to look at the FAA to a data connection so they can monitor one of the FAA sites up there. They had, their words, had, dial-up up there, and they have abandoned the copper. This is the plant would say it. I think, in my personal opinion, that the writing's on the wall for the end of CenturyLink as we know it in this region. It'll probably look like something else, but it's not gonna be what we think. So I think now is the time to be looking at how you guys do business. We've offered voice over IP services for 15 years, something like that, for a while. It's less expensive. My experience with one of the businesses north of they were paying $1,200 a month for 12 lines. So I don't know what you guys are paying, but for the town. But I think our prices are for voice over IP are a lot less expensive. So my proposal is to provide internet to town. The other thing is that I would provide voice over IP if that's interested, if necessary. We could also like assign direct inward dialing numbers to, like needs a direct dial number, or if they already have one, we can transfer that. I propose providing service at this office, the Public Works, and at the new auditorium that's ready for internet. The price would be $250 a month for the internet, these 3 locations. We do voice over IP. We basically have a dedicated server. I'm doing this like right now for the Uray School District. I've been doing this 12 years, Uray School District. So there's a dedicated server for that. That's mostly cost. The trunk lines were, like I said, $80. You guys probably pay, I'd be surprised paying $80 or more, like what I just quoted.
per line, this is for 4 lines and for long distance. If the town has analog service, we can look at it. And see, but right now, we don't have a product that's analog, and I think if there is an analog service. It may not continue. Because of other reasons. We also, so the installation fees are $250 per site. And I have an installation fee for the server also. We can also, provide service down at the water or sewer plant. I would think the security down at those locations would be increasing, so we're looking for cameras, motion sensor, whatever, door sensors. So we provide service for that, and I think at the water plant, they have to use computerization for some things anyway, so. Yeah, that's an option. This is pretty much within line of what we charge other people. This is not special for Collbran. The factory school pays exactly $100 a month, hasn't come down, hasn't gone up. I have to rebuild the server from the ground up once to this whole time. But next time move you guys into the 21st century, and I think also probably the equipment here is probably, I haven't looked, but it's dated. Be nice to it. One of the problems with the newer equipment is it isn't as robust as the old equipment. Sure. Anybody's worked on the old equipment can test that it's probably better than what we have nowadays. But so you can expect them not to last 30 years. Have to replace something every 5 years. Other than that, it's a better way to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, my mother-in-law is still paying rent on a rotary dial phone that's hanging on a wall to CenturyLink.
Although it's gone up in value, probably.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Well, it's my understanding right now, we do not have any charges for our internet. Is that correct? Our internet is free. So.
The
internet is free, and I certainly would not entertain any proposal to start paying you, which was not budgeted to begin with. But if I were to consider it, I have to want to consider all providers, not just this situation.
Well,
but it's free right now.
Improper, we get free internet. That's my opinion.
Okay.
And as a businessman who's been in business for 30+ years, I really stand behind that statement. It's not like I give you, Gary, personally, internet for free, not because I know you, because like I said, I've hooked every one of you well. So it's just something different. Like, we provide service to people if they're, they've lost their job or their spouse died or something like that, in 3, 4, 6 months, whatever. But it's not proper for you guys. And I actually offered to provide the service a long time ago, was never solicited for it. So I'd say whoever your current provider is should not even be in consideration.
Okay.
I don't think anybody else, to do the voice and the internet, you're probably not gonna have somebody else that can do both. You can do separate.
With the FAA, did they have a microwave up there and then it went to copper over to their
No, they're close to the building. They actually had copper over to it.
Right.
They're probably what, 3/4 mile, half a mile from the telephone site. Yeah. They probably did that too.
Yeah, back in what, 90, 91?
Well, I personally think it's time to repair our relationship with you. I think that it's good to give you business. I would like to move that we accept the internet and voice service proposal, but evaluate what the staff determines, the office staff and the public works, because I don't think it's necessary to have it to the auditorium. But if Mike thinks it's necessary to have it at the plant, then I think we need to move forward with that as our 3rd location. But I would like to leave that completely up to office staff and public works staff to evaluate what we need and to move forward with this proposal. as determined.
Are there any other providers besides Elite and yourself? I mean, has brainstorm completely? Is there somebody that
They're,
they filed
They're around.
bankruptcy at one point, but I didn't know if somebody took them over?
yeah, they got taken over, they are focusing more of their time right now in Eagle County and still down there in Durango and in those areas. They're considered they had a pretty good sized footprint in Mason County at one time, but I don't see them. Mitchell talked to Sid once in a while.
Let me get this clear. Are you feeling that we don't have adequate internet services right now? At no cost to us?
I don't think it's fair for a business not to charge.
I say you get.
Do you think it's fair to vote for something that has not been budgeted in the budget? Do you think it's fair not to hear from all the other providers before we make a decision?
I think that we've had the same service for some time and it's time to give someone else a chance and we can go back in 3 years and 2 years and reevaluate to support all the local businesses.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to listen to what they have as far as a proposal, if they do provide voice over IP or, you know, as far as I know, the only service in town that, you know, not just internet service is Optimus for the, right now anyway, fiber. And what happens between the CNL and in next, you know, in the next short term. But I don't think, unless an Elite, I would like to know if Elite has another tier or faster speed. At this point, no, I don't believe, just like when we heard from Wilson this evening, the echo that we've had, all that's part of it. And we've spoken about it's not just the megabytes that we get, it's about the ping and the delay between going back and forth. I mean, I notice even though my phone will test really good with AT&T, if I don't have internet at home, AT&T still is really slow because there's a bottleneck down there in Grand Junction. Between here and there, it's really good, makes it look good, but it's just like a couple of my neighbors had T-Mobile, and I know several people had T-Mobile for their internet at home and their hotspot, and said that they would never leave because they were actually using it for their business. And then all of a sudden T-Mobile has their phones come back up, but their internet they still have problems with, and so they've all left and gone to Starlink. So
the other thing with this, Gary, is we're the one provider at this point that can provide fiber optics to these two buildings or 3 buildings.
This is Jim. Can I'm working with Mark, so I'm invested in this topic. Go ahead.
Hold on a second, Jim. Hold on. Did you have something to say?
I understand in speaking with Mike Nichols, that once that comes down the alleyway that you got the update on, that this building becomes hardwired. And those lag issues could resolve themselves, and I'm not sure the lag issues are always the internet.
Right,
Versus this computer.
right.
It's the oldest computer in the building. And we ask it to do the most.
and we have budgeted to replace that as far as I can remember. Even when Tilden was on the board, there was monies in the budget to replace. So,
Well, I can tell you, maybe some of you don't, I pay attention to some of the things that are posted on Platte Valley Community Connections, and when people start complaining about their services being down, yours comes up pretty often. Optimus comes up very often in terms of not having service, so.
And you can look at.
I would really like to speak to that if I can.
Well, yeah. I mean, when CNL, 3.5 years.
Okay,
Passing.
we don't need we need to be respectful. Just a second here. Melanie?
I just would like to know, why is Elite free? What was?
It's in exchange for putting their towers on town's property.
So there was a benefit.
So it's not something it's an exchange
Mhm.
of. Exchange.
There's a tower and there's some equipment up by the water storage tank, which is over by Gary's and the Scott subdivision. There's also a tower up here off of GE Road. I don't know if that's has anything to do with the town service, but yeah, there is an exchange for that.
Show the paperwork.
So is there?
We haven't, this board hasn't seen any. I found in the minutes the day that it was approved. But that's, I
Did they
haven't
actually
seen the
approve to
contract.
create, we're actually,
I didn't see the contract. I just saw in the minutes when they approved the contract and it was years ago. I could find the date. We could look for the paperwork possibly.
I mean, if Region 10 is gonna charge all ISPs a fee to be in the CNL, to be in their building, then I don't know, we should have a contract and be charging Elite and a rental for their facilities up on the hill, and then them give us a proposal for internet service here at the town hall. But like I say, I don't know if they have.
I don't know if we're gonna get free because Carla said with her update, I'm preparing drafts of dark respective campuses and will be able to contract with ISPs for services as they choose. I am preparing drafts. For respective, I'm preparing dark fiber lease agreements for the ISPs to lease fiber from the grand CNLs to those facilities around the town, along with some possible pricing options for the use of the town's anchor fiber build out. The fiber to the anchor locations is not leased to or managed by Region 10. Rather, the town will lease those out directly and retain those funds. So these anchor, can you explain that, Dusty? These anchor points, we're leasing them out to the anchor points and obtaining the funds?
Because she's the one handling those projects and I am unfamiliar with them.
the problem with
Well, and
that verbiage, again, anchor institutions ticking out 15 years ago, 13 years ago, when they came out with the EagleNet project. They come in and they take the only one of the reasons I would still be able to do business in here. And I told this to people, and you guys, you particularly, Gary, you remember this. When I go out of business, a lot of people here are not going to have service unless they get from the lead because they can't afford starting. They're not going to buy some Region 10. You know, that's going to be it. And that, you know, that same thing happened to me up on Glade Parks at this Plateau Valley. It's, you know, it is happening. So the people here have a responsibility to keep their businesses running. You know, we're talking, Fitchlick's going to shut down. It's not a given, but we know it's going to happen. It's a win.
yeah, they were just talking about it engineering wise a couple of weeks ago about either becoming a mom and pop type deal or closing the doors, not just Mesa and Collbran, but several of them in Utah. The other thing is that we have to recognize, and that's one thing that I normally don't respond to Facebook and some of those responses with the internet being down, because there are some people that say, you know, Elite rocks or Optimus is down. One thing that they have to realize is there is a working relationship with Optimus and Elite over certain instances in trying to support each other and keep each other going. Part of that, I presume, is because each other have towers in different places. And so because we are in a hole right here in town, when some people's internet goes down, whether it's Elite or Optimus, 99% of the time, mine goes down for maybe 10 seconds or something at the house, but I sit up a little higher on the hill, and so my radio's a little higher.
The other reason is we are the biggest ISP in this valley, so we're having targets on that. The other thing is that we have people, we had one guy we just went fixed. We were trying to fix him a year ago. There was an incompatibility between the router and the new Toronto radio. But they couldn't be bothered, and they start chirping. Like, oh, this goes down. No, it doesn't go down. You wouldn't let us. Dave actually contacted them at least 5 times, drove to their location twice, trying to fix it. So, you know, you can't take, you gotta take it with a grain.
Yeah. When you see
And I,
5 public unhappy people, you could have 300 that we just don't complain.
Right.
And sometimes it does go down. And I have to tell you, I've been with you for 3 years, 4 years. It's come a long way. And I know that you're constantly trying to improve your service, and you're constantly, and me, if I can't watch a movie, I go do something else. It's not the end of my world when the internet goes down.
I guess I've been to the point of I have no skin left on it. I resent it and say something.
Can I just bring in a very important point to this? There's actually 2 points. So regarding these Facebook posts about Optimus and any of the internet connections, I jumped on there and I was actively soliciting to work with people because I know the many variables that go into internet connection. And in one instance, I could not get a person to call me back until they complained again. And I finally got a hold of them. I determined that it was their cell phone, because of their region, clogging up their own personal internet connection at the house. Those are the kind of things that you see. It's very common. I don't blame anybody for complaining and all that kind of stuff. But as far as the Facebook feeds, you know, it could be anything at any moment. And I've seen Elite go down, and somebody just posted on the Valley page that they were looking for a cable for their Starlink. So they all have their things. But aside from that, the biggest thing that really should be looked at, the most important besides uptime and connection, is security. And, you know, take it for what it's worth, because Mark is contracting me to help with some growth areas and other different things. But I can assure you that his network is very secure from a cybersecurity standpoint. There's very little traffic on the network as far as people trying to reach in from the outside. And I've seen all kinds of things, you know, with this, the Ukrainians, the Pakistanis, everybody is on these networks trying to get through. And I can't speak for Elite in their security because I haven't seen inside. I do know Starlink because I have that as well. But I can just say that one of the big decision makers, or factors, I should say, would be a cybersecurity type element. And I feel that in my experience, Optimus is top tier as far as that goes.
well, the other thing that people need to realize too, and I've done this for my neighbors and if people have called in the past, I've asked them if they've just reset their router or their equipment at home, and they do that, and within, you know, 5 minutes, their system's back up, and then they, oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't Elite or Optimus or whatever,
Right.
You know.
He's done that to me.
So, and that would be, I suppose, the other thing we could look at as far as ISP providers, if you want to get a proposal from Starlink, and see what kind of expense that would cost us. But if CenturyLink is gonna close the doors and Elite doesn't offer voice over IP, I don't know, I'm not saying that we need to approve it.
Not just have somebody show up on the agenda.
Right.
Give us their proposal.
No,
I mean, that one was free.
I understand exactly what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, Gary, so it would. Whether we get a different proposal or a different agreement with Elite, or whether you want to see a proposal from Starlink or whomever, so that it's out there for everybody.
Yeah, but we've invested all this hundreds of millions of dollars on fiber, and I've got fiber here, nobody else does. And even if you're to say, well, let's use the fiber that they're building into this building, you're 6 months or a year down the road, you can use that. I mean, look at the delay. We've taken this kid. We don't have internet yet.
Well, it's not just the fiber that's in town, it's what feeding it, from what I understand is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the radios and the equipment that are feeding Collbran there's a huge difference
No, no,
between the.
this is all.
Pardon me? Go ahead, Tilda.
Well, I was still on the board, you trade out internet services with Elite because, for rental of town space. I believe that Optimus still has, their equipment on town property, but is not paying their rent and hasn't for at least a year. And yet here they're coming in and, proposing to sell you their services. He had not, the last I had heard, he had not responded to the attorney's offers. And to resolve that issue. And I think that's bad business practice as well.
Well, Kendall went to the county and he got the plat that had the easements asked specifically for it, and he is in an easement.
And you guys took my property.
So.
That's.
Which is something we need to address too on a future agenda. Have you come to talk to Bruce about that?
Yes, I just did this evening, and I started, in fact, one piece of
If I could,
from a year ago. But,
as we already discussed on this issue, the presence of a public utilities easement across Gandy Park does not confer a private company the right to locate facilities in an above ground shack. That public utilities easement is limited to authorizing underground facilities. And so any company that is renting town property is or should have a lease for that property and should pay the town for the value of what they are getting. It is legally false to say that any sort of public utilities easement across Gandy Park authorizes in any way their Optimus's occupation of that shack. Now, there are facilities that are located underground in Gandy Park that may be covered by the public utilities easement, but there is nothing in a public utilities easement that grants the kind of surface rights we're talking about here.
So is there a barter service that's available for Elite to say that the town will pay nothing for their service just because they're given internet for free? I think that's pretty speculative.
So when we put out proposals for a lawyer, town lawyer, we put out proposals for a water lawyer. We put out proposals and we receive resumes, and we consider everybody. So if we are proposing something, then we should put proposals out so that other entities can give us their proposals. Because that's what we've done here with the lawyers. That's what we should do with anybody who we're going to contact. Especially when you consider the fact that right now, we receive services in an agreement situation. It's not necessarily free, it's in an agreement situation. Right? And we did not budget did not budget for this proposal here. So how is it that we can, responsibly accept something like that without budgeting for it and without accepting proposals from all possibilities, all providers?
This exact proposal is just has a new date on it from 6 years ago. I never got a peek back from past administration. I never got a peek when you guys are giving internet or getting internet for free from Elite. And Elite, because it's a utility, they can still be on top of the water tower and places like that because they're a utility, just like I am. You aren't providing them anything.
My comments are to the trustee.
Well,
And I agree that we should give,
Transparency.
we should give all ISPs we should give all ISPs an opportunity to give us a proposal,
Yeah,
especially knowing that if CenturyLink is going to be shut down, can they even provide us with a voice over IP? I don't know whether Elite does that or not. And like I say, I don't know whether Elite has a higher tier of service, but through the proposal process, you're correct that.
But they don't have fiber. They don't have any fibers.
okay, can we direct staff without a motion to check with local or whatever available internet providers for a VoIP? Do you want to vote? Do you want a motion?
No, I don't think you need a vote. It's
To-
staff direction.
If we can just direct you to get bids, proposals from any local, any available internet provider for voice over internet, VoIP services and internet services. And then also a summary of their speeds, their, how it is, including Starlink. How it gets to us, whether it be fiber, satellite, etc.
Well, that's been the situation. It's not technically voice over IP, but even our local phone services that are on copper, if you still have a copper line at home, still is microwaved up from Grand Junction to Palisade Point into Mesa and then brought across the fiber to Collbran and then distributed from there. So
Are we gonna table this until we
Yes.
get more?
Information. I'm good.
until staff gets us more information on.
You guys are not free to share the document with my competition.
Thank you,
That considered proprietary.
thank you.
I can understand and respect that for sure.
They've been included in an open records package.
That's true. Find it.
I won't necessarily give it, but it is already out there.
That's true.
Melanie, did you have something to?
I didn't have anything else. I just was curious why they were getting it for free. I didn't know that the town gave them nothing to put down with, and then all of a sudden we're gonna become internet providers.
Yeah, I'll find you the minutes and then maybe we can do a core request on that agreement.
Please, trustee, no trustee core requests.
We don't have to put in core requests. I can request for that without a core
Yeah.
request. Thank
Should
you,
come talk to me, please.
thank you, appreciate that.
Anybody. If you have a document request, just come talk to me first,
Okay,
see if we can work out whatever documents you're looking for versus going through. A process that bogs everything down.
Would you have anything to add to the conversation, Barry, as far as the communications part of it?
Well, I know they have fiber going from instead of Collbran, but yeah, I don't know. What was the deal with the fiber coming across, moving across, and coming into town?
That's the one that's 3.5 years schedule. Let's go to be ready in a month.
It come right,
Is that yours?
No,
no,
that belongs to the town.
It belongs to the town. It was done through Region 10. It was brought up from the back across VE Road. And then is up to Gandy Park at this point, but the fiber is still dark. But there should be light on it. We don't know what the fees are gonna be. Mark's in communication or negotiation, I guess, here and at another location via Delta or Montrose, I'm not sure, but once there is light to that point, Mark's already feeding service through fiber. One of our trustees has fiber at his home through Optimus. I don't have it at my home just because there's no way to get fiber to my house right now, but that doesn't mean there can't be in the future, so.
You have Optimus now.
I do have Optimus now,
What's it cost you a month?
$57, almost $58 a month.
Oh. And that's internet and.
No, I just use internet. I use my cell phone for my voice and I use his internet.
Your voice probably occasionally goes through the internet
Mhm.
most of the time.
Right,
Mine does.
yeah,
So,
Okay.
and that's why I keep in mind when I have people tell me, like I have a farmer down in Montrose County tell me, I'm gonna go shut off your tower, I'm not dropping, I'm paying for the electric. But also the next call you'll get, the 911 dispatch saying, you can shut off a bunch of people being able to call 911. I'm cognizant of that, that's my responsibility. Anything else?
how else is the FAA gonna affect, is that gonna affect anything else of your equipment
I don't-
or what's up on Palisade Point?
It's still small, like it's a state or something.
They're not gonna just leave it.
Yeah, they're almost,
If it went all the way to the highway, it'd be worth a lot more.
Oh, yeah, no.
Ready?
okay. I guess item 16, town attorney update. Except for we,
Hi, yeah, I'll try to be quick with this. So as I noted earlier, the last month after our firm withdrew, I have just kind of been trying to close out some projects, make sure that the town is not left in the lurch after our firm withdraws. The main thing I was helping with was advising KLJ, helping them have some guidance on kind of some upcoming land use approvals that the board may have to consider. Hopefully you have a new town attorney selected and appointed at the time that those applications come in, but just to the extent that things are moving forward while y'all are searching for a new town attorney, I thought it was necessary to kind of give them with some interim guidance. Those matters include, a couple months ago, the board approved a preliminary plan for a new subdivision. There's not a strict time requirement for when that applicant has to come back to get final plat approval, but they could come back at any time to seek final plat approval. And so if that application does come back before you have been able to appoint a new town attorney, then I would strongly recommend following KLJ's advice on that. I should have given them kind of everything they need to know on that. There's one other matter I'll include that's kind of under the heading of land use, and this is mostly to advise the board. I'm happy to kind of help reach out to Mesa County initially on this before Thursday, but it may also just be something to flag for your new town attorney when they get appointed. The county brought to our attention an issue where there are, as far as I understand it, there's only 2 properties in town that have this particular condition with them, but essentially there is a difference between the plat for the property itself that has been exchanged and sold over the years, and then the legal description of the portion of that property that has actually been annexed into town limits. And essentially what that means is for both of these properties, there are only a part of the property is located within town limits, and there are portions of the property that are located within unincorporated Mesa County. It creates a potential conflict with regard to land use applications, because essentially, depending on the type of land use application, the town and the county might have concurrent jurisdiction on that particular land use application. There was a question on one of these properties about having it subdivided. And my understanding is for that subdivision, the part of the property that they're trying to subdivide off is located entirely within Mesa County. So that portion may be resolved just in communication with Mesa County. But basically, the county reached out and asked if the town would be willing to try to negotiate some sort of memorandum of understanding or other resolution to this issue going forward. Like I said, if the board wants me to provide kind of some guidance to KLJ going forward on this before Thursday, I have most of this written up and can kind of send my final recommendations on this. I think the simplest answer would be to essentially encourage both property owners to complete the annexation of their property so that the entire property is located within town limits, because it could substantially complicate trying to do land use applications on these projects without that kind of jurisdictional question being resolved. That's everything on my end for updates. If you have questions on this property split issue with Mesa County, I can answer them now. If you'd like me to, kind of send the final notes I have to KLJ on that, and then perhaps leave this issue to be picked up by the new town attorney when they're appointed, I can kind of leave KLJ with all of the appropriate documentation before the end of the week.
But I'm wondering what property is partially in town and partially out of town?
So the two properties, actually, one, as I understand it, is owned by the town. It's the rodeo grounds. There's a small sliver near the river that is located within unincorporated Mesa County, and then the other property that has the active subdivision application, it has two addresses, but as I understand it, one address is essentially wholly within unincorporated Mesa County, and the other address is partially within the town and partially within unincorporated Mesa County. The two addresses are 2115 Rodeo Drive, and I believe it's 104 PE Road. The 104 PE Road address is the address that sits on the portion of that property that is located wholly, at least as far as the Mesa County Clerk and Recorder's records indicate, that resides entirely within unincorporated Mesa County. 2115 Rodeo is split roughly 2/3 of the property is within town limits and 1/3 is located in unincorporated Mesa County. I have only had limited time to look into this since this issue came across my desk, right around when our firm submitted our intent to withdraw. But at least at this point, I haven't been able to figure out any idea of sort of why or how those annexations were allowed to move forward, only annexing part of the property when they were originally annexed into the town. My best guess is the applicants tried to do it for tax purposes, because it would minimize the amount of area of those properties that is subject to town taxes. But I can't say for sure. None of us have been able to definitively determine exactly how we ended up in this situation, and the county's now just trying to figure out a way to resolve this issue that's kind of in everyone's best interest.
So the county may require them to do a lot line rearrangement or something of that nature.
I think, but I guess the issue now is that the county wants to have some sort of agreement between the town and the county, and this piece would really be best resolved with your whoever you appoint as the town attorney after us, to basically have some sort of agreement between the town and the county on how to resolve land use applications that come in for these properties. I mean, I think if both owners were to figure out a way to either annex the remainder of their land, or, you know, to your comment, Mr. Mayor, perform some kind of lot line adjustment that would clarify this issue and clarify that, you know, the entire property is located within town limits, that would probably conclusively solve the issue. But short of, and certainly the town could do that for the property that it owns, since my understanding is the town owns the rodeo grounds, but the other property with the two addresses, that's up to that individual property owner. And so that's why there may be some agreement between the town and the county required there.
Are they owned by the same person?
So the reason why this has come before the county actually is because the owner of that other property is trying to sell the 104 PE Road address to someone. And in order to accomplish that, they have to basically separate off that parcel. And it's that separation, that minor subdivision to basically make that its own parcel is how this initially came to the county's attention. And then I think when they noticed that this was a little strange with that one property, they did some more digging and they found that there was one other property nearby that had the same condition.
They're owned by the same person though, correct?
Currently, yes, but if the sale goes through, which I understand, you know, the county agreeing to the subdivision is sort of a condition. I believe they're under contract for the sale, but it has not closed. But once the sale closes, that 104 PE address will be owned by someone else. That would actually resolve the issue with regard to that specific address, because that parcel is located wholly within unincorporated Mesa County, but the issue would still be active, so to speak, with regard to the second address there, because that address itself is basically bifurcated by town limits.
So it's not part of our rodeo grounds, one of the problems?
So yeah, the rodeo grounds is the other property. That one is owned wholly by the town. And I believe I looked at this on the Mesa County property records, and it's a sliver, I think it's on the east side of the property, close to the river. I think for the town's property, it's probably easier for the town to figure out some sort of resolution. But again, I just wanted to kind of bring this issue to the board's attention, make sure that this is something that gets flagged for the new attorney when they get appointed, that they should kind of figure out how to work together with the county to get this issue resolved. And like I said, if you want, I can work with KLJ over the next couple of days just to send some preliminary notes to the county to let them know that y'all have been advised on this issue, and that they should expect to hear from your new attorney once they've been appointed.
Okay. So just to clarify, you said there was two property addresses that had this problem, right?
So,
and rodeo grounds, and one of them is a private.
Yes, there's the rodeo grounds, and then there's another parcel. That parcel technically has two addresses.
Yeah, I see that.
But that is still, I guess it's within the Mesa County property records, even though it has two addresses. The deed for that property basically includes all of the land that is both addresses, at least as far as myself and KLJ staff and our county contacts have been able to figure out from Mesa County property records at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask a question of Wilson? Wilson, this is Kat Herbert from KLJ. Are you able to provide any direction to KLJ as well as the board regarding administrative approvals moving forward in the interim, especially for things like building permits, things like that, or what the board could do in terms of a remedy?
Yes, so I think this was first addressed by, I'm sorry, is it Bill? I want to get his name right. Or Bruce, sorry, I knew it was something with B. Bruce brought this up at the beginning, and I believe you spoke to it as well, Kat, that under the code, the town has to provide zoning clearance for building permits, and that has to go through the Board of Trustees. the simplest way to fix this, and again, this would be something to consult with the new town attorney on, would just be to amend that code section to add some language that states that that those approvals can be administratively granted, whether that is by the town manager, if that position is eventually filled, or whether you designate that to someone serving as the town engineer, which I believe would allow, you know, someone in Kat's position working with KLJ to be able to grant those administrative approvals, then that would be the simplest way to fix that. And I do agree with Bruce and Kat that this, you know, is an issue that should probably be given administrative, or that you should give either the town engineer or the town manager the authority to administratively approve those kinds of things, because it is pretty simple, and it does kind of tie up the board's agenda when they have to consider applications like this. And also, especially in light of the fact that the county is the body that enforces the town's building code. So really, you're just making sure that the zoning code has been followed, and it's really up to the county to make sure that everything's being done correctly with regard to the building code.
In the interim, absence of any code text amendment, could these types of approvals be done by consent agenda?
Certainly, yes. That is one alternative that is available to the board going forward, is to put any applications like that onto the consent agenda until such time as, you know, you've been able to consult with the new town attorney on, you know, making a code amendment to that section, potentially other, you know, when you're kind of getting under the hood of that section, amending the code, it might be worth looking at adjacent sections to see if there are things that could be adjusted in there as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wilson.
Thank you all.
Okay. Item 17, staff updates.
Just kidding. Bringing a little humor to the room this evening. Spoke with Brian Blair, who is the town's contracted auditor. At this point, he has received 90% of the information he needs, and he received all of that from Carla before he left.
Okay.
They are in the initial stages of going through all of that information. There will be field work that will need to be done, and then we will have to provide additional items that they need. He thought he would be able to start on that in the next couple of weeks. I do understand from Carla's update, state has accepted our request for an extension, so we have technically up until the end of the year. But he stated that would be done well before that deadline. He was thinking approximately about a month, and then he would bring that he will come before the board and discuss his report and explain to you everything that he has done. I was able to run my first payroll, so I'm checking boxes and getting gold stars so far. So I'm kind of settling in and trying to still figure out certain things, but moving forward.
Well, one thing I don't want to do is hold you back in any way, so you know that if you need to contact me, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
When or how. So
And I appreciate that.
here to support staff, whether it's in this building or the building across the street, so. Thank you. Item 18, trusting informational items for future agenda, upcoming meeting dates. To be determined by the board. Future agenda request.
Yeah, can we throw on the agenda, swapping to irrigation water for Terrell Park? We budgeted for that in the 2025 budget, Dusty. And can we also discuss? Yeah, I wanted to discuss permits and Kat not having to come all the way up here, especially when it says right at the end of the report that she approved it all. Like,
Agreed.
I don't want to take her from her time. So I don't know if we can just be in agreement for future reference, or if we need a motion to make a new policy on that for now. If they could just be approved in consent agenda,
And you know,
we can.
as of
motion.
right now, until it's totally resolved, we will continue, we do things in a consent agenda that way. That does not have to come up, and then we can kind of look at how we move forward. Do we amend the code? All of that is a process.
Mhm.
I mean, the code amendment itself would take the drafting of the ordinance, the passage,
Yeah.
publication, 30 days.
Yeah.
It's not quick.
Public notice.
Yeah.
All the legal stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, oh, can we please, have a discussion and direction for microphones and a valuable sound system on our next agenda? And there's also funding available through donation for office upgrades. So.
One of them being replacing this computer.
It's a good computer.
And then also, is there any pipeline updates for the Hoosier?
And that would be a question for Bruce Smith.
Okay.
He's the one working on your water ditch rights. He is
Okay,
reviewing massive amounts of information right now, so he would be the one to ask that question.
okay, all right. And then I'll ask him too about, I guess I'll ask him about the past ordinances that were passed.
The past ordinances that were the previous.
Yeah, I'll just follow up with him.
And can I ask that we received 2 applications, 2 proposals for the town attorney position?
Oh,
Bruce has both of those in his possession at the moment. But we asked that we maybe set a meeting so that we can hold interviews with the 2 candidates that we received proposals from. And look to move forward in appointing a new town attorney.
mhm.
So whether you want to do that at the next, whatever date that is this month, but
We have 2 applicants.
we
Yes.
received 2 proposals from 2 attorneys,
Oh,
from 2 law firms,
okay.
2 different law firms,
Okay.
yes. And so if we could.
Get on it.
Yeah. I'd like to be able to coordinate with the law firms, their schedules, and if that next, whatever date that is, I don't have a calendar in front of me. And you're probably, you know.
Around 1 month.
Yeah. I could hear about 10. So if we could tentatively. On the 17th, say we're gonna do town attorney interviews.
Does Bruce
Um,
have ideas on how to professionally do that? Because we found out we're not supposed to do it in an executive session.
His theory is going to executive session, him and I have discussed it, and he says there's nothing wrong with holding interviews in executive session.
Okay.
As long as no decisions are being made. There is nothing wrong with holding. But if you'd like more clarification.
He says it's okay, so.
Do we need to get on this faster? Do we need to do it on the 10th or? I mean,
Yeah,
What works best for you as far as getting,
Some of it is just coordinating with the separate law firms and what is their availability. At this point, I have not asked either what their availability would be to. I would presume they'll make themselves available.
anyway, we can do a special meeting during the day, so we don't have to take from people's family time, and we can get straight to the interviewing instead of making them sit for an hour before we get to the interview, like we did to everybody else.
Well, one of them is on the eastern slope, so he'll be appearing by Zoom, and the other one is a law firm out of Grand Junction, so we suspect he may appear in person. So if that's the case, then we could stagger those, call the meeting at 6 o'clock, one of them here at 6 o'clock, and hold the second interview at 6:45. Until that second candidate it's a 6:45, and my suggestion at that point would be to do the executive session at 6. Let the other guy know when to be here.
What if we did it at 10 or 1? That way you guys don't have to stay late as staff and we don't have to ask the attorneys to.
Again, it would be dependent on their schedules. I could reach out and then get back with everybody as to what kind of works best for them. And then we can kind of work together to get Bruce here, to get me here,
Right,
to get all of us here at the same time.
that way we're not interfering with the dinner hour with everybody.
Yeah, you can, whatever, we could coordinate.
I will reach out to the attorneys or have Bruce. And then one of us will be in touch with. What we have come up with.
Okay. Go ahead, Tilda.
If that meeting is only going to be an executive session, I think that would be fine. As a citizen, I think that would be fine. But if you are going to come out of the executive session and make the decision, you should have it in the evening so that the whole, everybody in town should come, not have during the day.
I think that is the main reason we hold our meetings at 6 p.m. And so that if the community does want to show up, and voice anything, they have that opportunity.
Right.
And holding it in the day, as some of us well know, we work, they work, and we just. So I think that's traditionally why we do those meetings in the evening.
Okay.
That's the only agenda. I'd also like an update on where we are in advertising for full-time town administrator, please.
And I'll get a bridge if we can.
Did you guys get back a report from the state, Dusty? Or is it,
I haven't seen anything that might,
but he did come?
got some like.
I think that the gentleman from Laramie mentioned that he did,
I think he was scheduled
that
for,
the state has been up there, we haven't seen the report, but. An update for that on the agenda would be probably good. Okay. Public correspondence, statement read by Monica Echeverry for Rachel Showalter at the May 6th, 2025 board meeting. And then it says a letter from Hope West regarding, unless this is a different.
No, I'm just getting the letters from last month that were read into the record this month.
Okay. Okay. If nothing else, we will adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank you.